we now meet continuity lady Doris Martin. Doris had worked for many years with Patrick on his Danger Man series and was much sought after for her work on other such ITC-produced series of the time. To start the interview, we asked her exactly what does the work of a continuity lady entail.
Well, the biggest job is what we call matching. In other words, we do a long shot to establish where you are, and then we move in close for the artists, so that you can see them once you know where they are. And I have to make sure that at the time, about the time they want to move in, they are making the same gesture, saying the same word, and it has to be a bit elastic. The director will usually say, well, I want to move in there, but sometimes he changes his mind, so you have to be a bit careful. And when you do a retake, you have to see that they do it the same way, so that it will cut, because in the cutting rooms you cut on movements. If a thing is static, the eye will see it. If it's a movement, the eye is attracted by the movement. So if the same movement carries on in the next frame, you're not so aware of the cut. That is the main thing. And also I have to prompt and make sure. A lot of films, it doesn't matter. A lot of artists, when they get this script, they say, well, I can't say this, it doesn't come natural, I want to say so-and-so, and they're allowed to say, well, as long as they don't alter the plot, makes sense. Another thing they do occasionally, they forget the name the name the artist is playing and address the artist by their real name. And I've picked them up several times on that, and nobody's noticed, because, it's natural to them. Little things like that, you have to make sure that the words, it's a real dog spotter's job. Then, of course, you check the clothes when they come on to make sure they're all right. The wardrobe is really responsible for seeing their dress there, but you have to make the final checks. In America, I believe it's different, and the wardrobe is absolutely responsible, and the continuity don't have anything to do with that. But I don't see how they can, because if somebody came on with the wrong hat, I would know immediately. You made a lot of notes. Now you've got the Polaroid, which is a godsend. It's marvellous. But when I started, didn't used to have to sketch, and I'm not good at sketching, but I manage, and I used to get one first assistant I worked with quite a lot was very good at drawing. He used to do sketches for me sometimes. And also you make notes of what the setup is. Not so much now, because with these new lenses they're moving in and out. But when I started, they were changing lens, and 25 was a long shot, and 50 was a close-up. 70 is a big close-up, 50 was most of the talking. It still is. They still more or less use that, but they move in and out. And if I say to the camera boys afterwards, what did you use? They no need give me a vague idea how they started and how they ended, but it has to be more or less the same. It's much easier now than it was when I started, but I did have a good background anyhow.
How important are the slate numbers?
Slate number. You don't put the scene number on. You go from one right through as a rule. And then on my sheets I put the scene number that it matches up with. But I think in some of the documentaries and things they tend to put scene numbers on, but it's not a good way to do it really. Keep going through the slates is the best, and then you sort it out. Otherwise you can get so confused. And you see, a scene in a script, say you get scene 36, and it's quite a long scene, which is broken down to so many parts. Well, then you're going to have 36, 36A, 36B, and they won't be shot in that order. It's much better to do slate numbers and then sort them out with the script. Because when you go on, a director will say, well, I want, say, 3, 5, and 9 printed. And you print those, and then he'll go into close-up or something closer, and perhaps the action has been quite different, and you say, now, are you going to do it twice each way, or do you really think you want that one? And then he'll decide, no, he won't. He'll settle for one, and you'll match that action. But sometimes they're not sure which master they like, and then you have to do it 2 different ways, match to 2 different actions. Well, I have to tell them about that. Have to be responsible for that. In fact, you have to be responsible for a lot. Everything comes back to you in the end.
There was a lot of confusion over the original rover device. What can you recall of the early ideas?
They didn't really have one. They argued about what they were going to do. They were going to have a robot, they were going to have this, that and the other. And we shot all round without using anything for some time until they made up their minds what they were going to have.
Did you like the Portmeirion location?
It was a lovely spot. We were there for about a month. We started just before the thing closed down for the season, and then we stayed on about 3 weeks after. It was really very nice. We didn't go down to the end of the season. We couldn't have been there right in the season when it was full. It was tapering off. We went down there, I suppose, about a week or a fortnight before it closed, and there were still some people left there. But it wasn't full because we lived in some of the cottages then, and they're all let in the summer. No, I think what they did, they moved the people that were still there more into the hotel. We used to eat down there, well, dinner at night. We just had sandwiches or something when we were working, I think. But we slept in some of the cottages as they became empty. I can't remember the one I slept in, but it was up overlooking the thing where we had the chair, somewhere up there.